They'll tell you life is about the things you can see. The car, the job, the suit, the followers. But the truth? Those are just shadows, reflections of a far more powerful game being played beneath the surface. The invisible game. And if you don't learn to master that game, the one no one talks about, the one that lives inside your mind, inside your soul, you will forever be reacting to a world you don't understand. Chasing trophies in a rigged race. Living as a puppet in someone else's play. Because real power doesn't begin in the bank account. It begins in the silence. In the invisible. In the realm of thoughts, beliefs, focus, identity. The parts of your life no one sees, but everyone feels. See, we are conditioned from birth to focus on results. Grades, money, praise, status. But nobody tells you those are outputs. And outputs are determined by inputs. Not visible inputs. Not the hours you grind. But the invisible ones. What you believe about yourself. What you expect from life. What you focus on when no one's watching. That is the battlefield. And here's the brutal truth. Most people lose the visible game. Not because they're lazy, not because they lack talent, but because they never learn to fight where the real war is being waged. Inside. So if you're wondering why you're stuck, why your life looks like a rerun instead of a revolution, it's because you've been playing the wrong game. The visible world is a scoreboard, but the game, the real game, it happens long before the points show up. A man doesn't become disciplined in public. He becomes disciplined in the moments when no one is looking. When it's 5 a.m. and the bed is warm. When the mind screams, quit, and the heart whispers, go. That decision, that invisible choice, that is the game. And most people, they never even step onto that field. They stay stuck in the illusion, obsessed with changing what the world sees, not realizing it's their unseen habits, thoughts, and beliefs that are quietly scripting their future. Edison didn't wait for the world to approve him. He obsessed over what no one else could yet see. An idea, a spark, a filament of belief so strong. He endured 1,000 failures not because he loved pain, but because he had mastered the invisible game of faith. Carnegie didn't inherit empires. He created one. By first mastering his own thoughts, he understood riches follow those who learn to command their own mind like a general commands an army. Because if your mind is undisciplined, your results will always be random. Success won't feel like momentum, it'll feel like roulette. And the truth? You cannot control outcomes, but you can control who you become. And who you become is a product of what you do in the unseen hours. What are you rehearsing in silence? What identity are you feeding when no one's watching? Are you a victim when life tightens its grip, or a warrior who sharpens his will in the dark? This is the invisible game, the battle between who you want to be and who you've settled for. And until you win that war inside, the world outside will always overpower you. The world rewards outcomes, but life responds to alignment, to integrity, to the man who does not flinch when tested, because he's already fought the war within himself and won. People admire confidence. But confidence isn't built in spotlights. It's built in solitude. It's not the product of applause. It's the product of consistency in the dark. The man who rises is not the one who always gets it right. He is the one who keeps showing up, even when his emotions beg him to sit down. It is in the invisible space, in the seconds before you decide, in the moment between impulse and intention, that your destiny is forged. You want to change your life? Then stop waiting for motivation. Discipline is the truest form of self-respect. It says, I am worth keeping my word to. You want freedom? Then train your mind to obey when it wants to rebel. Because the most dangerous man is not the one who's loud. It's the one who has mastered his silence, who has trained himself in private to remain calm when the world burns. That's the edge. That's what separates lions from sheep, winners from wishers. The greats Lincoln, Ford, Mandela, they weren't built by comfort. They were sculpted by unseen hours, brutal self-honesty, and a refusal to betray their purpose, no matter how much it cost. When everything is taken from you, your money, your status, your reputation, what remains is what you practiced in the dark. Did you build an indestructible identity? Did you master the invisible game? Or did you just decorate the scoreboard of your life, while letting the foundation rot? Because here's the brutal truth. The world is playing chess on a board you can't see. The ones who rise aren't just the smartest, not just the fastest, not just the loudest. They are the ones who mastered what no one else wants to master, their inner world. The battlefield is not in the economy. It's not on the stock market. It's not in algorithms or politics. It's between your ears. And until you learn to win there, everything outside will feel like chaos. Most people never realize this. They chase money but never peace. They chase status but never self-respect. They chase fame while their own mind is a stranger's voice. But the elite, the truly unstoppable, they know that thoughts become things, that energy is everything, that if you command the invisible, the visible world must fall in line. They know that clarity is currency, that doubt is expensive, that every minute you entertain confusion, you're being robbed of the life that could have been yours. So they get clear, not just on what they want, but who they're becoming. Because once you master your identity, decisions become automatic, discipline becomes default, and results become inevitable. The invisible game isn't glamorous. There's no audience, no trophies, just sweat, stillness, and soul-level warfare. But this is where kings are born, not in the spotlight, in the furnace, in the silence, in the choice to do what's hard. When no one is watching, this is the price. This is the climb. The question is, will you pay it? Because you don't get to the top by accident. You don't build an extraordinary life on autopilot. And you sure as hell don't get handed greatness just because you want it. You become it. You forge it. In silence. Through fire. Brick by invisible brick. You see, average people live in reaction. They wait for the world to change before they believe. They wait for proof before they commit. They wait for confidence before they act. But the ones who master the invisible game, they flip that equation. They act before they're ready. They believe before the results. They move while they're afraid. Why? Because they understand the truth. The outer world bends to the inner one, not the other way around. If your belief is fractured, your results will be too. If your identity is small, your success will shrink to fit it. If your focus is scattered, your destiny dissolves in a million directions. But if your mind is locked in, if your heart is on fire, if your obsession is wired to purpose, then even the impossible becomes predictable. Because obsession is not a weakness. It's a weapon, a lever for greatness. Every empire was built by a man or woman obsessed. Every invention, every revolution, every legacy, birthed by someone who lived in the vision, before the vision ever existed. Edison saw the light long before the bulb. Disney saw the kingdom long before the castle. Carnegie saw steel cities when others saw mud. They didn't just believe, they burned. They mastered the thoughts no one could see, so they could create the future no one believed. That's why this game isn't about working harder. It's about working deeper. It's not about time management. It's about thought management. Not about doing more things, but becoming someone more. Because if your inner dialogue is poverty, your outer world will reflect it. If your identity is average, no amount of tactics will save you. If your thoughts are rooted in fear, your future will be shaped by hesitation. The invisible game is the battlefield no one trains for. It's not on your resume. It doesn't show up in spreadsheets. You can't post it on Instagram. But it determines everything. It determines how you show up when no one's watching, how you think when the pressure hits, how you act when the doubt floods in. It determines whether you break or break through. And here's the secret most people will never understand. Before you win in life, you must win in silence. Before the audience applauds, you must applaud yourself in darkness. Before the world says you can, you must scream it when no one listens. Before you get external results, you must build internal proof. Because if you don't master the invisible game, you become a puppet to the visible one, chasing likes, begging for validation, living on trends, trying to look successful, instead of becoming it. But if you do master the inner game, then nothing outside of you can dictate your worth again. No failure can break you. No success can define you, because you've already built something no one can take away, an unshakable identity, one forged by belief, clarity, purpose, and obsession. Obsession is not a flaw. It's fuel. It's the sacred fire of the few who refuse to live an ordinary life. It's what drove Nikola Tesla to sketch entire inventions in his mind before touching a tool. What drove Beethoven to compose after going deaf. What pushed Walt Disney to build a magical kingdom when he was bankrupt and mocked. The invisible game is ruled by those who obsess with purpose. Not with chaos, not with fear, but with divine, deliberate intensity. Because obsession with the wrong thing is destruction. Obsession with comfort breeds decay. But obsession with vision, with mastery, with becoming, that is how legacies are made. This is why you must guard your mind like a sacred temple. Not everyone deserves entry. Not every thought deserves attention. Because every thought is a seed. And what you water grows. Feed your mind fear and you'll grow paralysis. Feed it doubt and you'll shrink. But feed it discipline. Feed it belief. Feed it power, and you'll become something the world can't ignore. Because everything visible you admire was once invisible. The Empire State Building was once a sketch. Apple was once a garage. Oprah was once a poor girl in Mississippi with nothing but a dream. They didn't wait for evidence. They became the evidence. That's what mastering the invisible game is. It's believing before seeing. It's becoming before achieving. It's deciding before deserving. And that's what separates the obsessed from the average. The average person wants to feel ready. The obsessed person decides they're ready. The average needs a roadmap. The obsessed builds the map while walking. The average looks for permission. The obsessed gives themselves permission. Because they know this truth. You were never supposed to play the game others gave you. You were meant to master your own. And to do that, you must kill the noise, the doubts, the timelines, the opinions. You must go inward, into that lonely place where pressure lives, where silence echoes, where most people quit, and you must build something sacred there. A voice that speaks power, a mind that bends reality. A soul that refuses mediocrity. That's the invisible game. And once you master it, the visible world won't know what hit it. People talk about discipline like it's optional, like it's a side dish to greatness. But in the invisible game, discipline is the main course. It's the steel spine that holds your dreams upright when everything around you shakes. Because the truth is, there will be days when your motivation dies in the dark. When you wake up and don't feel like it. When no one claps, no one calls, no one cares. And in those moments, only one thing separates the rising from the falling. Discipline. Not talent. Not luck. Discipline. The obsession to show up anyway. To move anyway. To build anyway. When it's hard. When it's slow. When it's lonely. You rise. Because you trained your mind to serve your vision, not your feelings. Think about every icon who built something timeless. Da Vinci didn't just paint when he was inspired. He studied anatomy, dissected corpses, filled notebooks with experiments. Kobe Bryant didn't just shoot when it felt right. He practiced at 4 a.m. while others slept. Steve Jobs didn't just wait for innovation to knock. He demanded perfection at the microscopic level again and again. They all bled for a future no one else could see. They didn't hope it would happen. They decided it would, and then paid the price daily. Discipline is obsession in motion. It's what makes the invisible visible. Not once, not when it's easy, but forever. It's brushing your craft even when no one is watching. It's building your mindset when doubt creeps in. It's saying no to the world so you can say yes to your purpose. And hear this carefully. You will never outachieve your habits. Never outrun your rituals. Never outperform your patterns. Discipline is not punishment. It's permission. Permission to become what you obsess over. Permission to deserve the life you dream of. Permission to make heaven kneel to your persistence. Because the world doesn't give crowns to the wishful. It gives them to the relentless. So if you want to change the visible world, start by mastering the invisible rhythm of your days. Your habits. Your thoughts. Your focus. That's where kings and queens are forged. Not in the spotlight, but in the shadows. Where no one sees you, but God, and your future.